Welcome, everyone. Oh, look at that. Sonia says it's a glorious Wednesday, and I'm like, oh, that's the day of the week it is. It's a great Wednesday morning. Listen, Neville Goddard talks a lot about feeling is the secret, and I was sitting here thinking this morning, because the lecture we read last night, it was, it was a brilliant lecture, but a lot of things have to do with the way we feel, the way that we feel. You see, and a lot of people think that maybe that means like a emotion, but there's a difference. It's not necessarily anything to do with emotions, angry, sad, happy. No, that feeling has to do with, what do I know? Think about that for a moment. The thing that causes you to move is that thing that you know, that thing that you are certain of. Many times throughout the day, watch yourself to see what it is that causes you to act. If you pay attention, you'll recognize it. We move because of it. We act because of it. But most days, we aren't sure about our feelings. Because again, we think feelings have to do with emotions. But perhaps if we would look at the feeling as more of intuition, your gut. Sometimes because you can't put it into words, but you can say, I feel. Because my gut said, some would say, a woman's intuition, mother's intuition. That's what is meant by feel. It's not something that, oh, you're angry, you're happy, you're sad. No. It's just this thing that is indescribable. You can't always put it into words, but that's the thing that will make you act. That's why it's so important sometimes to make sure we know our own minds, our own selves, because so much work goes into influencing that little feeling that you get. When you talk to someone, you say, well, I wasn't real sure, but I felt I should. I felt I should do it. Watch yourself and see how frequently you have one of those and how frequently you say that. Because now that is your clue, that's your inclination, that's your warning to say, oh, that's what that means. And the more you pay attention, you're going to see it happen more and more because you're looking for it now. And when you experience that feeling, see if you can recognize what gave it to you. Why would that be important? Because it's part of knowing whether it is you or whether it came from somewhere else. Whether you were the one to generate that idea or thought, or that thought or idea was generated and projected towards you. Oh, that seems willy-nilly. That seems, that'll never happen to me. That's what it feels like. But here's the fun fact. It happens to us every single day. We just don't see it. So what are you looking for? You're looking for that sensation that causes you to behave or act out. And when I say act out, I don't mean, oh, you lost your temper. No, act out means the thing you felt inside, you did it. That is act out. Right? This is important. Why? Because it is telling you, it's showing you your inner self. The only way to see the inner self is to do the outer matching action. And so that's why you reach out and touch. Reach out and touch me, right? That one. Um, it's a reaching out, but it's not a reaching out with hands. It's a reaching out with something else. It's you're putting out your feelers. You're getting a sense for what's there. For some, this comes really easy because they've had way more time to practice. Those people are highly intuitive, highly sensitive people. The ones you raise your eyebrow at and go, you're weird, right? But we truly, all of us, have that same thing. It's just that we necessarily haven't practiced it because we don't think that it is um, valuable to the degree of the other senses. You know, if you know you're looking at a blue dress in the window, you can describe it to somebody else. So they'll see and know exactly what you're looking at. But this, no. If the hairs on the back of your neck or the hairs on your hands stand up, you know because you can feel it, but you can't necessarily always put it into words. So today, that exercise is to pay attention. Pay attention to you and pay attention to the thing that makes you move, makes you act out. What is it? Where did it come from? Can you put it into words? Why is that important again? Because you want to know, did you generate it or was it generated and projected towards you? But why is that important for you and I to know? Because then you'll know if you are acting of your own mind or acting under the influence of somebody else. Oh, but that's foolishness, Angela. That would never happen to me. It has nothing to do with whether it would happen to you or not happen to you. The point is, we all have this intuition. We all have this thing that we feel. Some of us allow it to rise to the surface. Others, we suppress it. So today, the exercise to practice would be to reach out and touch it. See if you can sense it. See if you can sense it. If you can say, oh, I was thinking about you, and here you are. That's the same thing. You took the words right out of my mouth. Same thing. It means you and someone else, you felt the same undercurrent. We all have it. So don't think that you don't. We all have it. We all have this capability. I can't tell you necessarily to say, well, why it's there, other than if you look and all of us have it, then it's our nature. Because you felt it at one point in your life at some time. Indeed, you have. Maybe you have forgotten. Oh, I just knew to go here. Oh, I just knew to check it at this time. I had a feeling, right? That's what I'm saying to you. There's always a part of you. But what's that part? That part is you. Basically, what I'm sharing with you this morning, because in that lecture last night, it was a very subtle statement. When you begin to recognize that I and me are one and the same, you won't separate them anymore. But you'll know that there's one to you instead of you and me. No, you will recognize that there is only I am. That's what I'm saying to you. You will experience it. You will experience the oneness, but you will experience it within yourself first. That's why it's important to reach out and touch by way of your invisible senses. Or as they say, your spidey senses are tingling. You just know something is amiss. You know something is going on. Oh, yes, you have it. You do. Because I'm sure, depending on who you are, who heard and you heard it, you went back into your memories and you found an instance. Maybe you found many instances where you felt it. See, so the more you begin to feel it, you're going to realize it's only you. There's only one. That oneness within yourself first. You see what you're doing? You see what we're doing? You're bridging that gap. You're taking, let me see how I want to say it to you. You're putting yourself back together. You're not just associating yourself with your body, but now you're associating yourself with the fact that you are in a body. That's what you're doing. You will come to that realization simply from reaching out and touching that part of yourself that you know is there. That invisible part to you. Now that's and you will notice how peaceful it feels to do it because you trust it. You don't second guess it. That's what I'm saying to you this morning. Right? That's the part right there. We don't always give credence to it. Sometimes we brush it off and go, it was nothing. But then something happens and you go, wait a minute. Didn't I? Ah, you. That's what I'm saying to you today. Look through your life. See if you can find it because it is there. The memory or the recollection of that feeling of just knowing something. That's what you're looking for. That's your exercise. When did that ever happen to me? I don't know. I don't think I've ever experienced that. Don't be so quick to say you haven't. Because now doing that exercise also causes you to do the cliche thing of turning within, looking within yourself. But it also causes you to see your worth. Wow. Well, because when you look back and you see that there's been something there, nudging, pointing you in a particular direction, gently whispering to you, you will see that you're not alone. Look at how many things emerge from that one simple exercise of feeling. And again, to differentiate, it's not necessarily speaking about emotions, happy, sad, joy, no, but a knowing of something. And Neville was interesting because he said sometimes we think that it comes from the outside of us, that little, nudge. But if you pay attention, it actually came from within you. You have to move internally first before you act externally. So if you pay attention to that, you will see why you act. You will see you were driven by something. You were driven to do something. And then the more time you spend looking at that, you will begin to understand or comprehend what it was that caused you to move. Was it inspiration? Was it a fear? Was it worry? Was it, intrigue? Was it a past memory? You will begin to see what is driving you. What used to be hidden will now come to light for you if you pay attention. It's real important to take that time to know one's self. It is. Many a mystery will be solved because we'll begin to see why we do what we do. And you can pinpoint it and say, oh my God, I do that because, you know what? I don't want to act that way anymore. Or, wow, I love that I know that about myself now. You see, it does something to us. And the way for us to know is to do what? Is to experience it. You have to experience it to know what I'm speaking of. Or else it just remains hearsay. That's what it is. Let us take a brief moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space this morning. Hey, Muck 45. There's a man's name I haven't said in a while. It is beautiful to see you again, my friend. It is, truly. He's on Twitter this morning. YouTube and Facebook. I know I can see Shay, Butter, and Asanya in the chat, but I don't see the others in the chat, but I know they're there. On YouTube this morning. Fan base, who's here? Let me see. I know Stephanie was just there, but Flo Smiles. There you are, beautiful Miss Deborah. Nobody's mama. Is that who it is? And nobody's mommy. I see you, beautiful. I see you. Vashawn, Joaquin, Mgini, Dua, I see you. Ali, Oracle Treehouse, Marquise, I see you. Yeah. So this morning, the exercise is what? Paying attention to that subtle undercurrent that causes you to act. That's the exercise. Listen, because we don't just do things. We do things because we are moved to do them. So the exercise is just simply one of observation. Why did you do it? What would cause you to do that? You know, that's the question you ask yourself. What would cause you to do that? You know, when you see your children, they do foolish things. Why would you do that? That's what it is. And they say, well, I don't know. That's what they tell you. We are at a point in time where I don't know. You need to know. Oh, you most certainly do need to know. Think about it. If you don't know why you do something, well then, anything can come along and move you and you'll do it. Oh, well, that would never happen to me. How many times has somebody mentioned something and then all of a sudden you said, oh yeah, I would like that right now too. Or you smell a particular scent waft through the air and all of a sudden you know, oh, I gotta have me some fries. Why? What compelled you to buy them? Was that your inspiration? Or were you inspired to act from somewhere else, from someone else? And I will forever tell you it is important that you recognize that. Oh, indeed. I'll tell you again why it's important. It is important so that you know when you are the one acting, as opposed to when you just allow yourself to be moved to act. Indeed. It is always best to know oneself. Why? It is not enough anymore to just say, oh, I just did it because I felt like it. That doesn't cut it anymore. Why? Because for babies, it's milk. For the grown up, solid food. We're continually moving from stage to stage as we remain here. We exist. So we move through these stages. Then, as we move through the stages, different things are activated for us. You begin to know more and more about yourself. It's just natural that these things come into play. We learn more and more, as long as we allow ourselves to learn. So the encouragement this morning is to pay attention to that inner, or some would call it the still small voice. Pay attention for that, because it will help you to see, one, you're not alone. Two, you get a nudge. You're being guided. But there's only one of you. Your own inner oneness. You're bringing together now the I and the me. Me is your body. You're not just me. And so reaching out and touching that part of yourself brings you to wholeness and shows you your own wholeness, so that you begin to recognize, oh snap, there's more to me than meets the eye. Oh, you mean I'm not just this thing? Exactly. And you go from knowing it logically to knowing it by way of experience. Yes. Yes, Imani. Internal, look inside the self. I love it, Commander. He says, if you don't know why you do or want something, or you don't or you do want it, it helps us to resist temptation. Right? Because then you could look at something and say, wait a minute, well, that's not me. Hard pass. I know that it seems like a strange message this morning, but it isn't. It isn't. We have to get to the point where now we develop our skills, we mature. Because it's no longer good enough to say, I just don't know why I feel this way. I don't know. No, you must know yourself and why you do what you do. Because I am telling you, it is our nature to know. And if you don't want to know you, someone else will know you. Why does that even matter? Because if someone knows you better than you know yourself, are you in good hands? That's the point right there.
And you know what? Not only will they know you, they'll actually make you. and mold you, because you're just like a blank slate. Yeah. So once they get to tapping into your mind, they'll start having you thinking thoughts that you would have never thought had you had possession of your own energy system.
There you have it, as clear as day. Thank you, Marquise. Facts. Oh, but Angela, isn't that scary? No. Think about it for a moment. It brings you great peace to know yourself and to know why you do what you do. But if you just allow yourself to be moved and shuffled along, you have no idea. You have no idea. And to what end, you don't know. So you see, it is better to take the time to know. So you can say, I did this because. And look at the confidence that comes with that. I did it because. And you give your explanation. A boldness emerges. A surety of self emerges. Instead of this insecure self. You're not meant to be insecure. You're meant to be sure of yourself. You are meant to look within yourself first and foremost. And not all of us have been taught to do it. But when's a good time to learn? Now. So how do you practice? By feeling. Feeling as in, if the room is dark and you got to get to the switch, what do you do with the wall before you find the switch? You're feeling your way along the wall till you find the switch. That's what I mean by feeling, by reaching out to get a sense of your own self. Where's that switch? And you're patting, pat, 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 pat. Why would I do that? You're searching. Well, I kind of felt funny. This was kind of weird. I did this. And that's what you're doing. So just as you would shuffle along in the darkness to feel out where that switch is so you can flip it and illuminate the room, that's what you would do physically in a dark room. But mentally, you are reaching out. Mentally, to learn yourself, what you like, what you don't like. Why you act versus why you don't. Then you begin to recognize it about yourself that you've been doing it this whole time. When you see that you've been doing it this whole time, you'll recognize, oh, wait a minute, I did come across that. And you'll ask him because you'll remember if you trusted it or not. And you will remember how peaceful it felt. It didn't even matter if the situation was a little scary. Then that thing that you feel, the intuition, when it speaks, it is accompanied by peacefulness. It surpasses all understanding, as the scripture would tell us. So that's the part of yourself you're seeking today, to learn about yourself. Indeed. You ever heard somebody say, because here's an example. You ever heard somebody say, well, my mother did it that way, and so I do it that way. You ever heard that? You ever said it about yourself? Well, this person did it. I learned how to do it that way. And so we stuck with it. Never questioning it, never asking, is that what I want? You're not going against anybody by doing that simple thing. By asking yourself, what do I want? Because it teaches you to listen to your own inner voice. and you begin to know the sound of that voice. I don't even know how this phenomenon works, but penguins do it. They're the first ones that popped into my mind. That penguin mother and father knows the sound of their baby. Listen, that whole beach is covered with baby penguins. But when that one particular penguin calls out, because all those babies are making noise, but the ears of the mother and father, they are tuned to hear their baby. So that's it here. Where your ears tuned to. Mothers, they know the sound of their baby, their cry of it. You could have you could go to daycare, and she hasn't seen her baby yet, but she will hear, "Oh, that's my baby." How do they know? Like I said, I can't explain that phenomenon because it is a phenomenon. Because they know that baby. They know their baby. So, in order for you to know what that still small voice sounds and feels like, you have to get to know it. But then you will realize you're only getting to know yourself, thereby going from me and you, your mama and your, sorry. You will go from me and you to, oh, snap, it always leads, as my father would say, all roads lead to home. All roads lead to home. And where is home? Knowing the self. But to know it, you've got to reach out and touch it. Feel it out. And the more time you spend feeling it out, the more familiar it becomes. You know, if you know anything about Esther Hicks or Bashar, they channel. They have to know the difference between themselves and the thing that they channel. Because why? They feel different. That's how come they know. Because if you listen to them, they tell you they know when this thing, because something shifts. They know themselves versus the entity that they speak or allows to use their body to speak from them. So how do they know the difference? Because they have to know themselves first. So this morning, your exercise, my exercise for the day, is beginning to know that self. And you know it how? Well, how are you supposed to reach out and touch it? A practical exercise. Well, be quiet and observe. And when you do something, ask yourself, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I do it that way? You notice you're not judging the self. You're just simply observing. We learn a lot by observation. You know? People who read tarot, they do the same thing. They, whatever you want to call it, they clear their minds so they can hear, so they can tell you. Mediums, psychics, all do the same thing. They know what they feel like versus what something else feels like. So the exercise is for you to know what you feel like. It's a beautiful privilege to know one's self. Look at the excitement in that. Ooh, I get to know me? Oh, but of course. But of course you do. Because if you think about it, you make a new friend. There's some great songs about it. Getting to know you. Getting to know all about you. We hang out with people to what? Learn who they are. So the same principle is applied to knowing the self. If you spend time with somebody to know them, then you have to spend time. Why would you go to a movie with somebody? To see how they respond. Do they cry in a movie? What's that tell you about them? So it's the same principle. The same way you would get to know someone is the same way you get to know yourself. Spend time with yourself and observe to see how you respond to things. So don't let me harp at you this morning any longer. Because, again, it is a very beautiful thing. Think about how it feels when you learn about someone. You learn their idiosyncrasies. You learn their quirky things. Now, put that towards you. See how fun that is? To know oneself? That part. Why? Because you are worth getting to know. Don't you think so? So you think it's just good enough to get to know George? Because you want to get to know George. Well, it's good to get to know you too. But you got to reach out and touch it. You're not using physical. You're using the mental. Where'd that thought come from? Right? That's what you're doing. I trust it makes sense to you this morning and that you will apply it. That's that's my heart's desire for you, is that you will test it out, you will apply it, you will use it. Because you will discover much about yourself. And when you do, well then, now you got a sure foundation, don't you? And the wise man did build his house on the rock, didn't he? Right, because when the storms of life come, they stand up. So knowing yourself is rock solid. But not knowing yourself and allowing someone else to dictate and move you, that's kind of sandy. Anyway, I trust again that it made sense. You can always slide into my DMs if you want more clarification. But that is a brilliant exercise. It is a brilliant exercise to get to know oneself. Let me look in that chat. Give me a moment. Let me check it. Yes, Commander, yes. Grow in love with you. It's the greatest of all gifts. But of course, Marquise, what you mean? What you know about that?
The Outcast
song. That's what it is.
Singing that Outcast song, "Let Me and You."
Yeah. Listen, let me tell you. There's a lot of songs I know, and I don't know where they come from, but they do. I just remember them. Hey, V224, I see you. But that's what it is today. Take that time to get to know you. For real. For real, for real. You do. Right? You do, because it is very helpful in so many ways. Summer Rose. Lord have mercy. I have missed you. It's good to see you. Hello, Reb. I see you too.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Hey.
Hey, good day.
Yes.
Grand Risings, everybody.
Hey, Commander.
Morning,
Hey. Yes. You see, it is so good. How good and pleasant it is. But that's what I want to remind you of today. I keep telling you what my dad said. Charity begins at home. It always has to start with you. That's the foundation.
Even to that point, you can't protect what you can't control and what you don't know, right? So if you don't know yourself, that means you will put yourself in situations that you know are beneath you. You're now when somebody when you ask, who do men say I am, instead of saying I am. You know what I mean? So that's that's a minor switch up but a major come up.
Yes. Thank you for that, Marquise, because it's true. That scripture says, who do you? That's when Jesus was talking to the disciples. Oh, I'm so excited. Let me slow down. Or else my words just come on. You know, us Bajans, we speak really fast. That's exactly what the scripture said. Jesus is talking to his disciples and he says, who do you say that I am? So when you ask yourself that question, wait, who do you say I am? Who am I? That part. Who do you say you are? Not, well, what's George's opinion of me? What does Susie think of me? Well, if they don't like me, well then, see that part? That's why Marquis said what he said. Because if you don't know who you are, then now you're basing what you say you are upon the opinions of somebody else. And we all know opinions. Opinions are like gas. You know, the one that kicks you right under your ribs and you got to get the ginger ale. Gas. From the bad food. Bad opinion. No. The opinion that matters most. Yes, handsome. I feel you. And there's not enough light in here for you to make any noise yet. So you relax yourself. But that's what it is. You have to know you first. Indeed, you must. Do it. Oh, snap. You guys crack me up in that chat. You're awesome. I love you all. Let me get the bowl for us this morning. Let me get the bowl for us. And as you go through your day today, as you go through the day, and as you allow the bowl to just play, for those 4 minutes, you allow that bowl to play. See if you can start to feel it for yourself. If you are driving, don't do the exercise because you need to be alert for the road, right? Just focus there. And you can practice your exercise on your lunch or whatever. Right? But let's get the bowl, y'all. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. V22-4, I see you, darling. I'll see you tonight, if you're available, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for the Neville Goddard Lecture. Much love to you, and enjoy the beautiful day, my friend. Enjoy your beautiful day. Twitter is closed. YouTube and Facebook. Am Amani, Commander Hugh Nation, Sugar Visions, Shea Butter, Asanya, and for the others who've not made themselves known, I presume Jeff, David, that you're here. It was good to see you all on YouTube and Facebook this morning. And I will see you tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for the lecture. Which one are we reading tonight? We we are reading The Nature of God tonight. Listen, that one is sure to be intense. I think it will be. And the great news is there's always a replay for the lecture. Always a replay. So, the nature of God. Let me see. I'm just scrolling through. It says, I tell you, all of the characters of Scripture, including Paul, are eternal states. One day, whether you be male or female, you will reach the state of Paul, and your journey in the world of death will come to its end. Ooh, I told you it's going to be intense. I am looking forward to that lecture tonight. So, Facebook and YouTube, much love to you all, and I will see you tonight.